Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Sprinter sound system upgrade. In my previous video, I show you how to change out the stock radio to the Alpine 809 and the inline amplifier. And this time, I'm going to upgrade the speakers. So there'll be quite a few topics I'll be talking about in this entire video, and I'll list it right over here. And I'll put a timestamp on it as well in case you want to skip into a certain section of it. And enjoy. So here the speaker layout for the 2019 Sprinter passenger van. And in the front, you have the woofer on the door, tweeters on the dashboard, and then there's two more pairs of speaker. This is the mid rear, and I already removed the cover to show this the woofer tweeter on the driver side at that level, all the way to the back, woofer tweeter, and again woofer tweeter. So there's after you pull out the door panel, you can see how the woofer is mounted to the door panel, and there's four screws to hold it there, and I already removed, and you can just lift it out, and it just sit right onto it, and you can see how small the magnet is, plastic construction, very light. Maybe that's why the sound wasn't great at all. This is the closer look to the woofer, and this is with the grill removed, and they just snap on to it, very easy to remove. The All the woofers are 6.5 inches category woofers. All six of them are the same, and at least for the rear one, they are mounted flush, and they held together with floor rivets, and you have to drill them out, which should be very easy. For the tweeter, also snaps on and pulled out, and there's a holder holding the tweeter. Give you a closer look, and I'm pretty sure that's the capacitor to limit the only the high pitch sound reaching the tweeter.
So here's the part that is not so clear because there's so little information that's out there. So I'll show you my best understanding of the speaker wiring is. So for the cargo and crew van, and the head unit will have 4 channels outputs, and 2 of each will be powering the left and the right speakers in your door and your dash. And I called up Crutchfield, and they don't think there's a crossover between the woofers and the tweeter. So if you tap into the stock woofer input line, you should have a full range of audio signal. Also for the cargo and crew van, most likely they use the other 2 channels to power the center speaker on the dash. That's the reason why you hear so many complaints saying that the center speaker is so overpowering, so you can't really hear clearly the left and the right speaker, and people go in and disconnect the center speaker. For the passenger van, and the story is a little bit different. Despite some of the installer that I called up and myself previously, the center console speakers for the passenger van actually is never really connected. So I never actually hear the overpowering center speaker even before I modify any of the sound system. So I believe now that the center speaker is not connected at all. And the 2 channels powering the left and the right front speakers on the doors and the dash is still the same as the cargo van and crew van. But it most likely it will take the 2 other channels just to powering the another 2 pairs of speakers in the back. And so you can see the diagram that I draw over here. And if you have information that saying this is not correct, please leave the comment below. So based on the all the information that I just showed you, all I'm going to do is to utilize the input line to the woofer on the OEM speaker to power my aftermarket speaker. So here is how I'm going to wire the new speakers, and as you can see, I choose the JL Audio's C1-650 as my replacement speakers. And you also see that I have both coaxials and component speakers in the mix. The original thinking behind that is the component speaker will sound better and I'll put it in the front. And then the coaxial speakers are cheaper, easier to install. I put it in the back. So after I put in the order of the 3 sets of speaker, that idea all changed after I saw a video of this JL Audio guy talking about coaxial actually is not worse than component speaker. So I like that idea a lot. I want to put the coaxial in the front because that way I don't have to fish the wire, this tweeter wire, through the door hinges and to the dash, and I don't have to go through that trouble. And instead I'll put the component in the middle where the sound can be benefited by the whole car if there's any. All the signal for the new speaker will be coming from the OEM woofer wires, and all the OEM tweeter will be disconnected. Here's the new JL speaker and C1-650, and there's the comparison between the new and the old. And the OEM weighs only 240 grams. And the woofer from the component pair, as you can see, weigh as much as 814 grams. So that's a huge weight difference. And as you can see, the magnet size is hugely different as well. There will be a few challenges with the aftermarket speakers. For one, the mounting screw location most likely will be different, as you can see here.
Also, as I mentioned before, um, the OEM speaker is bottom mount, but the aftermarket adapter, and it's meant for you to do a top mount like this. The adapter goes at the bottom of the housing, and you don't really want to use this adapter to do a bottom mount because, as you can see, the ring pressed right on top of to the speaker, and you definitely don't want to restrict the cones movement like that. So you will have to think of a way to do a spacer, which I will show you, and how to do that, the bottom mount with a homemade adapter. One more thing about the stock speaker, it sits on this housing over here, and you can see the housing over here, and this edge will sit directly against this foam ring over here. Okay, so that's how it sits. And for the new speaker, and if you can actually touch it, this is soft rubbery material just like this one. If you install this against that rim over here with all the vibrations in the car, and eventually it will chew up all of this rubber material. So when you install this on to here, not only you have to worry about that screw location offset, as you can see over here, they're not at the exact same location. You also want it to raise up a little, so you need a spacer to raise it up, so the rubber portion of it wouldn't be rubbed against that. Okay.
Here are the measurement related to that, and later on for the rear speaker as well.
So this is the adapter or spacer, whatever you can call it, that I made with my 3D printer. And I'm sure you can make this with a piece of wood as well, or plywood. And it's 9 millimeter height, and they serve as a spacer. And you see there's two holes over here to deal with the offset of the mounting screw holes. And it would go on the speaker like this. And in that way, it will expand the mounting screw distance like that. So it will sit on it like this, and that's the mounting screw hole matching with that. Removing the door panel is not that hard of a job, and there's good videos out there. So I'm just going to briefly go over it. And you need to remove that cap, and there's a screw inside. Remove that cap, remove the screw, another one over here, and then one more, and this is the last one. Okay, and then over here it looked like a Phillips screw, but it's a pin and a retainer. So you just need to pry the middle one out, and then the inside pin will just the whole thing come out. Just retainers. So there's one, two, three at the bottom. And after you remove that, the rest of the panel is just held in by retainer pins. And you just need to work your fingers between and gradually pull out the entire thing. And there's a cable, and there's like about three more wires behind it. You just have to disconnect them, and the whole door panel will come out.
These are the plastic retainers that hold the panels in, and you can remove it like that. And if any of these are broken and you want to replace them, you can buy replacement from Amazon. I'll leave a link below, and they just snap right back on, and it will fit to your
And
door.
the rear speakers. So the panel need to be removed in order to access to the back um, where the speakers are installed. And these panels are all just held together by retention pins. So as you can see, I just walk your fingers into the gap, and you just pull, and you can have it snapped out. And you just have to do it all the way around.
Once a while, you have one of these retainer pins broken. You just need to replace it. The other time, the pin might just stay in the hole and got pulled out from the panel. You just have to remove it and put it back.
So beside the sliding door, all other three woofers and tweeters are hide behind the panel. It's the same kind of panels, and they're all the same. The one in the backs are easier, and the one in the front, this panel is partially hold together with this pillar cover, and so that has to be removed. And removing that is not that hard. You have to pull out this plastic cover, and there will be a screw behind it, and you have to remove that seatbelt screw and another screw down here. So, and after that, and the whole thing can just come out with some retainer tab in the back, and not so bad. And after that, this panel is held together by tabs. So they're just, again, plastic retainers, and should be pretty easy to remove.
Here's how they look after they are pulled out, and you can see the speaker and the wiring and the rear panel as well, speaker. And you do have to remove the passenger rows in order to gain access to this, but that's just takes some muscle.
So this is the sliding door panel, and this is the inside look of it. And you can see the speaker and hold by rivet. You have to drill that out from the other side. And this is the tweeter positions with the grill on it. And this is the old tweeter sits in it like that. And you have this two little holders, and that will catch the JL audio tweeter perfectly, and it just snapped on, it will stay there. So that's perfect. You don't even have to make any adapter for that one.
For the rivet, you use a 3/16 drill bit, and you just have to drill it through, and sometimes you have to hold it at from the bottom with the plier so it won't be turning. After you remove all four of them, the speaker will just come out like this, and it's exactly the same kind of speaker as what they have on the front. If you decide to use component speakers in the front, check out this video. It will show you how to remove and rewire and install your tweeters on the dash.
So now with the adapter installed, and you can see the mounting hole, it's at the right place. Yeah. And now there will be a gap between the speaker surface to here, and that's the whole point. You don't want it to be rubbed against each other. So, and I'm going to use a foam tape to bridge that gap, so it will be soundproof and no sound leaking into the compartment over here and causing weird sound. So this is the adhesive foam strip that I'll be using. They're 1/2 inches wide and 1/4 inch thick, and it have adhesive on one side. And I'll leave a link down below, and I just bought it off Amazon. And they are flexible enough that you can apply. So this is what I'm going to do. So it look like. So I end up using a knife to trim a little piece off. This is how it will go in. As you can see, the foam going to go against the housing. So no rubbing, but soundproofing. And you can see all the holes at the right place. So this is after how it's done. The spacer accommodated 2 different screw locations, and also raise the speaker up to create a little gap, so the housing won't be rubbing on the surface of the speaker. And then the gap is filled by this piece of foam right over here, and it sits right on the housing. That is done. That's the passenger side, and it will be exactly the same for the driver side. So, in order to bottom mount the speaker to the panels for the rear of the vehicle, and similar kinds of a spacer has to be made, and it really depends on what kind of a speaker you're going to use. The component one will be a little bit shallower, and the coaxial ones stick out a little bit more. Okay, so for the component one woofer, you can use the same height, 9 millimeter, and the 9 millimeter will raise the speaker enough that will get away from the grill. All you have to do is mount it like this. Okay, it will create enough gap that the cone won't be touching the grill outside, and it will be very nicely installed. I put extra hole here just in case I need extra support, but I don't really think that I really need that. And one screw in the middle and one screw over there will be good enough. And for the coaxial, it takes a deepest spacer or adapter to accommodate the taller coaxial speaker. But design basically is the same. It's just taller, and that is 9 millimeter height, and this is 18 millimeter height, and that will create enough a gap for the grill to not be touching the top of the speaker. So here's the how it works after it's installed.
To where you have a tweeter, you have to connect the tweeter wire. Besides the sliding door, all the rear speakers installed on the panels, and the panels consists of this kind of low density fiber boards. It's almost just like cardboard paper, so the structural integrity is a lot less. So the only difference that I do over here is I put a washers on all of those screws, so just to increase the contact space, so the speaker will stay on a lot more secure, and so it will stay on even the vehicles be bouncing around to deal with the weight or extra weight of the aftermarket speaker. But basically the installation, all the screw locations are the same, and the way to apply the foam sealing are exactly the same as well. Now all I have left to do is to cut the connector off the speaker wire and prep it for the crimp connector that normally come with the speaker. After I got all the crimp connector connected to the speaker wire, all I have left to do is to bring the panels with the speaker already installed and connect the speaker and snap everything back to its original location, and it's done.